My name's Katie. I am a neurodivergent coach and community builder in Portland, and I am so excited to introduce this book to you. This book is actually written and illustrated by a friend of mine who I met on social media, shocker. Their name is Metz, and this book is called Feel Something, Make Something, A Guide to Collaborating with Your Emotions. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can tell, but the cover is like really textured and nice. I have a feeling, and I haven't read this book cover to cover yet, but I have a feeling this is going to be like a modern artist way book. And I personally would really love to lead a Feel Something, Make Something group, because I think these practices are so nourishing and accessible and really help connect you back to your body when you're having big feelings, and that is right up my alley. So let's get started. I want to share this with you. It says, for Charlie, who's their son. It starts out with Charlie's art, which I think is so sweet. 16 and a half months, 2022. And then there's this cartoon here, feeling something, making something. Contents. Intro. A little narrative about what art making has meant to me over the years. Bring your tissues, it's a real sweet love story. Part 1, the feeling. In this section of the book, I share my 2 favorite practices for getting in touch with my feelings. First, I use body maps to visualize the sensations within my physical form. Then I empty my thoughts onto the page, creating a mind map to make sense of what's happening in my head. These exercises provide space between me and the feel so that I may investigate it fully. Part 2, the making. Once you know what you're feeling, it's time to make something about or with it. In this section, I give you a pep talk about creating within the constraints of your everyday life. Then I wax poetic about 5 functions of art making that have guided my practice, plus the artists I am in awe of. And finally, I share how to make a studio wherever you are, and offer up some tutorials of my favorite things to create. There's a photo of a cloud and it says, "This fluffy bit gets me every time." I really recommend buying this book because there's so much beautiful art throughout, and there's even a pull-out zine, which is so cool. I've never seen that in a book. Intro, in which I tell you a bit about what making things means to me. I spend my days documenting the sky, my body, and the thoughts filling my head. Half-finished poems litter my notes app in strange configurations that don't make sense until suddenly they do. I don't question how the wisp of a cloud sends me running to the rooftop balcony, or why I must draw the way fear eats away at my belly. Sometimes it takes months or years for patterns to emerge between all my practices. A trail of clues, secrets not yet revealed, an intimate collaboration between me and the universe. I hope these pages spark your very own practice of listening and responding to the surges of desire and oceans of emotion within you. Here we embark on the magnificent sequence, old as time herself. Feel something, make something, rinse and repeat. This book is about release, releasing your tangled thoughts and tenderest emotions through the act of art making. It's about letting it all out onto paper so you can make sense of your feelings from some distance. It's the alchemy of transmuting emotion into artifacts. This work allows you to hold the inexplicable in your hands, run your fingers across the spine of longing, crumple grief in your fist, or pin your rage to the wall so you can step back, take a breath, and examine the contents of your heart and mind from a fresh point of view. When I create from my feelings, the enigmatic becomes manifest. Mark making reverberates like an echo delineating the edges of my consciousness, a mirror reflecting the inconceivable. Something transcendent happens when we allow the swirling, fearsome tangle to tumble out onto paper, canvas, or clay, or into poetry, song, or dance. This process, this aching, messy, broken, perfect process of scribbling thought and feeling onto paper is the work. It's everyday magic, and it's available to us at a moment's notice. So where do we begin? The hardest part for me is pausing to listen. In a lot of ways, knowing when to make something is a chicken and egg situation. I know it's time to create when I feel overwhelmed, tired, irritable, anxious, etc. But I'm so good at pushing past my feelings that I often don't realize I'm having them until I pause. And for me, the pause comes when I make something. So as you can see, sometimes you have to start before you know where to begin. I sharpen my sensitivity to the quiet whispers of my body and mind every time I create work in collaboration with the feelings and sensations resonating inside. There's a beautiful quote attributed to Viktor E. Frankl about the power of listening, noticing. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The simple act of picking up a pencil stretches that liminal space of feeling into a place of rest where I can explore all manner of possible responses. My motto, more feeling, less reacting. I'm going to read that last bit again. The simple act of picking up a pencil stretches that liminal space of feeling into a place of rest where I can explore all manner of possible responses. That's beautiful. Over the years, I found myself repeating the same patterns when processing my emotions. The practices I'm sharing here are the ones I've turned to intuitively over the past 2 decades. My sanctuary when leaving religion, the voice I borrow to whisper my way out of the closet, a healing balm to soothe CPTSD. As long as I can remember, drawings have been my refuge. I leave the ache of this world, everything goes still, and the only thing that matters is the line on the page. I would draw for hours and hours as a child, copy paper on top of a book balanced on my knees, mead mechanical pencil in my left hand, eraser crumbles littering the couch cushions around me. My favorite thing to draw was women, with endless piles of hair and unimaginably tiny waists, wearing Victorian-era dresses with lots of flounces. Secretly, I draw them naked first, huddled in a corner so no one could see, quickly drawing a dress over the curves that made me feel warm in ways I didn't yet understand. Sweet, tender, baby, queer Caitlin, this book is for you. Drawing or mark making has been a space for me to explore concepts without committing. Before language, there were images. I like to say mark making over drawing because it softens the idea of drawing as a rigid, specific type of skill. Anyone can make a mark. Mark making allows my body to speak about things for which there are no words. Illustrating my anxiety gave me language to ask for help. Repetitive lines introduced me to meditation. Notes scrawled on bar napkins became life-affirming manifestos. There's a photo here. When I was 16, I took a series of photos of myself crying. I edited them in rich pinks and purples to try and capture the crushing teenage loneliness and despair. You know the one. Those waves of emotion that leave you gasping for air. I thought I'd implode if I didn't let it all out. So I started photographing myself as a means of release. Those images validated my experience. I captured singular moments of pain and gave each one a place to rest. This made room to acknowledge the presence of pain without being consumed by it. I didn't have words for any of this at the time. I didn't understand the need to bear witness to myself in this way. It felt self-indulgent. Now I understand it as self-preservation. Fast forward to my mid-20s, halfway through grad school, I finally come out as queer, but crossed out, and I'm engaged to be married to a man. I'm breaking out of fundamentalist evangelicalism for good this time. I'm admitting to my debilitating anxiety and depression. Nothing makes any sense. In a frantic panic, after too many days spent curled in the fetal position, crying on the floor under my studio table, I began the simple practice of drawing myself every day for 100 days, inspired by El Luna's 100-Day Project, a community commitment to making something for 100 days in a row. What came from that daily practice was a collection of 100 absurd, each different from the one before portraits, drawn without lifting my pen or looking down at my paper. It was an acceptance of the tension within me. Through these blind contour drawings, I was able to see myself, all myselves, and for the first time, they didn't contradict one another, or maybe there was finally space for all the difference. And you won't be able to see this super close, but there are all the drawings they did in that time. Most recently, I turned to drawing in that saved my life kind of way while creating and sustaining an entire human with my body. From the moment those two pink lines showed up, drawing took on a gravity that anchored me like never before. In the 39 weeks and one day I spent in the liminal state of pregnancy, I drew every horrifying sensation to cope with the terror I felt. Making a person didn't come easily to me. Then in those early postpartum days when the shadows got long and the darkness crept in like a soul-sucking dementor, I'd balance that wee 8-pound tangle of limbs between two aching breasts and race ahead of the chilling panic one at a time. These drawings found a home on an Instagram page dedicated to the operation of growing this tiny human. Messages poured in at odd hours as night-feeding parents from around the globe sought comfort alongside me. The echoes of "me too" and "you're not alone" punctuated the night like a constellation. And once again, mark-making gave me direction in the midst of chaos. Here I am to proclaim that I've yet to encounter a feeling that can't be softened by making something. We spent the first 3 months just like this. Here's a photo of Caitlin with their son. This is Charlie's art, 16.5 months, 2022. I love seeing kids' art, it's so sweet. Okay, we have a really cool drawing here. So there are all these circles here, and then it's like in science where they take one piece and zoom in so you can see the different anatomy of it. It often seems like my feelings have feelings. The core feel is like a stone thrown into a pond, with all the subsequent feels rippling out. Art making slows things down so I can differentiate the pebble from the rings and keep my thoughts from spiraling into spaghetti soup. So this is the feeling in the middle, how I feel about the feeling, what I worry others think about the feeling I'm feeling and the way I'm feeling it, how all of that makes me feel. Ha! Isn't that real though? That's how feelings are for me too. Here are a few of the ways art making has supported me through the years. I love their handwriting so much. Titrating emotion, expressing myself, viewing the contents of my mind from a safe distance, putting space between stimulus and response, bringing thoughts into focus, self-regulating and self-soothing, speaking up for something that I believe in, having a conversation with myself. I've discovered 5 distinct functions for self-preservation within art making: ritual, documentation, conversation, expression, and disruption. Depending on my need, these modes of creation offer me comfort, clarity, and direction. It's where I lay my burdens down. Art making is a vast landscape, offering us all a place to nestle in and rest. It's in this container of creation that I find myself over and over again. Mark making has been saving my life since I was old enough to hold a crayon. It is my war cry and salve. I hope it will be for you too. This beautiful art. Part 1, the feeling. Okay, I'm gonna pause there. I just love this. Please go get a copy of this. It's by Metz. It's called Feel Something, Make Something. I would love to read it alongside you so you can actually see all the beautiful pictures I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm super excited about this book. Okay, I'm gonna pause for now. I'm so glad you're here with me reading this wonderful book, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.